welcome back to episode number. Oh my god, there's a lot of wind here. I opened the window and everything's falling. Welcome back, guys, to episode number 34 of the Ad Lib Podcast. It's good to be back again. It feels like we recorded like 4 days ago. In fact, we did because we recorded on Thursday. And now we're recording on Monday. But this time,
for me.
Yeah, this time Joe is back because Joe hasn't been here for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah, 2 episodes. Yeah,
How's it going, Joe?
I'm good. I'm happy to be back. I've watched quite a bit in the time I was gone. Obviously, people got to hear my reviews last week for 3 films: for Mission Impossible, for Oppenheimer, and for Barbie. Although, like, I like contributing in any way that I can, I do like a bit bummed out. I missed out on the discussion of the whole like Barbie and Oppenheimer stuff, which I'm sure we'll touch on some of it today since it's still very much ongoing. But no, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Today I finished watching The Witcher Season 3, which I'll review later on. Yeah, pretty much same old. I mean, summer is quite relaxed for me right now. I'll be going abroad now next weekend, going on holiday to Sicily. Hopefully no fires, because Sicily right now is burning.
Yeah.
They had a big fire in Catania airport, and even Palermo, many cities, and I was looking at videos, certain highways in Sicily, literally just fire everywhere.
Yeah.
Looks like an apocalypse movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully the weather will calm down as well, because there were temperatures of like 46 degrees in Sicily.
Mental.
Which, I mean, in Malta we have kind of like this very hot weather, but 46 degrees is something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to be here. Obviously, this week is not going to be as busy as last week, because last week was the big one, right?
Yeah.
Barbenheimer week. But still some stuff to talk about. Obviously, Barbie and Oppenheimer are still hot. I don't know. I know you checked as well, Joe, right? When I checked Eden and NBC, like every show was almost sold out, if not sold out.
Yeah. It's ridiculous what has happened.
Then I went to rewatch Oppenheimer on last Friday with a few friends. It was nice watching Oppenheimer for a second time. I feel like because apparently, I don't know. Did you hear our review?
No, I haven't listened back to that episode
because I thought I missed out on like 3-4 minutes from the opening of the movie, but apparently I missed like 15 minutes. Because I think the cinema on Gozo just starts off, boom. If it's 8:30, it starts at 8:30.
Okay.
We went in like 15 minutes late. Apparently, it started at 8:30. There were no trailers or anything, because I was watching like the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Oh my god, I haven't watched any of this. I'm like, Jesus, I missed like a really big part of the movie.
At least you got to see it again.
Yes. I watched it in Eden, Cinema 7. It wasn't bad. Sound was a bit disappointing though.
Yeah.
Sound was a bit weak. Like the bomb, but the explosion didn't feel as powerful as it felt in the Gosden cinema.
Yeah.
The Gosden cinema had some sound issues as well.
Yeah. Over here in the IMAX, the building shook when the sound of the bomb hits.
The same thing happened in the Citadel Cinema in Gozo, but in Eden, it's I feel like they reduced the sound. Maybe there were some complaints; it was too loud, or I don't know.
Maybe.
It didn't feel as powerful as it did first time I watched Oppenheimer. But anyways, yes, cinemas have been busy. Like cinema was packed on Friday as well. But let's move on, Joe, to what we've been up to this week, because you've had a very busy week, right?
Yeah.
My week has been quite relaxed, because here at the Ad Lib Podcast, we talk about movies, talk about series, we talk about video games. And this week, we've got some trailers to talk about. We've got 3 trailers to talk about. We've got Loki Season 2. We've got Spy Kids Armageddon. And we've got Saw X. I'm guessing that's Saw 10. I've watched like 1 or 2 of the Saw movies. And
same.
Yeah, I just gave up on them after that. Then we got some news. Obviously, more Barbenheimer box office records being broken. We've got news on Lando series at Disney Plus being worked on. We've got also some delays to some Sony movies, Beyond the Spider-Verse, we'll talk about that, Kraven the Hunter, Ghostbusters, and so on, all moving to 2024. And then we've got some reviews. We've got some series, which I'll be reviewing. The Witcher Season 3, Part 2, because I talked about Part 1 like a couple of weeks ago. And the very popular and very, very, very successful Secret Invasion, which, as Joe might have seen the discourse online,
is this very popular?
No.
Oh, that was just total sarcasm.
Yes. Has been.
Okay.
Well, it's been controversial, but I'll talk about the controversy in my review then. And Joe will be reviewing a movie which I really want to watch, but unfortunately has not released in Malta so far, which is Talk to Me. And I think it's not going to release in Malta. It's anywhere near the plans. But that's the way it is here, unfortunately. We only get the big blockbusters and maybe 1-2 of the more indie movies. But it is what it is. So, Joe, let's get into the first part of the show where we talk about our week. Before actually we do that, because Franco will be angry with me. Guys, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below. What have you watched this week? Anything special we missed out on? Obviously, you'll be hearing what we've been up to. Any new movies, any maybe old movies you think we should watch? Let us know in the comment section below. So, Joe, get into it. What have you been up to this week?
Well, the reason I didn't attend last week is because Edinburgh, obviously, who I work for, we went for a training camp up in St. Andrews, which is about, give or take, an hour and a half to 2 hours from me by the sea. It's on the East Coast. Very, very pretty town. It's the home of golf, if any golf fans out there. So I was unable to do the podcast because I was so busy at camp. And it was a very busy week. Like these training camps, they're always like some of the busiest times, but it felt like I was there for 2 weeks rather than one, with the workload and stuff like that. I didn't get to watch anything whilst I was there, like not even like at nighttime, like on my iPad in bed. Like I'd normally just get back to my room, just go straight to sleep. Mm-hmm. But as you mentioned, I did get to catch just yesterday because I was very much looking forward to it. Talk to Me, which I'll be doing a review on later. The only thing I'm going to say about that prior to my review is we've mentioned cinemas are packed at the moment with the whole Barbenheimer thing going on. But it was really cool to see that this film, Talk to Me, came out on the 28th. I went yesterday, so that was the 30th, 2 days later, 2 days after release. I went to a 9 p.m. viewing on a Sunday night, which you would assume for a horror movie, which is not very big budget, it's going to be pretty dead. Full house.
Damn,
like complete full house. In fact, the couple of times I've been to watch horror movies in this country, it's been pretty full every time. When I went to go watch Evil Dead Rise, was full as well. Which is why I can't understand why, I'm going to name drop them here, but KRS, the sole distributor that is in Malta, which brings films to the island, just bring the horror films, because it has proven it is the safest investment for anyone to release a horror film, because people are going to go and see it just because it's a horror film, because it's that fun thing to do of let's go to the cinema and let's see if it scares us. So
people love horror movies, like the general audience, not the cinephiles and whatnot, but like just the general audience who will go watch a movie every now and then at the cinema, generally watch stuff on Netflix. They love horror. You know who also love horror? Teenagers. I was going to say, love horror.
Like, to spoil my review a little bit, this is a horror film so like for teenagers. Like the demographic is literally like 17 to 20-year-olds, or like even like younger 15-year-olds and stuff. I won't spoil any of my reviews. I'm looking forward to going through that. But really nice to see that horror is alive and well, and it was a full house. And it was fun. I literally had like two girls next to me the whole film, like watching from like under their hoodies, basically. That's fine.
I'll edit that out because I got hungry. I got this muffin. My girlfriend made it for me. It's nice. A protein muffin.
Okay.
So when I get hungry and I can't eat, or I don't have time to cook, I just pop a couple of protein muffins.
Yeah.
They're delicious. So yeah, Joe, that's great to hear. So, having people in the cinema again. You know what? Sometimes I appreciate an empty cinema.
Yeah, sometimes it's great.
Don't get me wrong. When I go watch a movie on Sunday at 10, the reason why I do that, one of the big reasons, is because I know the cinema will be empty.
Yeah.
Embassy, there will be just literally just me, and I can relax and watch a movie quietly. Although, to be fair, my recent cinema experiences have been quite okay. Like, I haven't had any very annoying audiences, to be fair, with
Yeah.
Barbie and Oppenheimer. Barbie was really fun because Barbie, it's a very fun movie to watch with an audience.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Oppenheimer where you're like trying to listen to every piece of dialogue. So I mean, a bit of, if someone shouts or if someone's like, "Oh yeah, go Queen," and it's like, yeah, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
part of the experience. With Oppenheimer, it's different. Oppenheimer, I had one negative experience actually. Actually, two. In one case, I was shocked that this happened. I was like, "What?" There was this person in front of, not in front of me, a few seats to my left, and this person literally put up her feet and raised her hands. She put her hands up like this. I don't like. Does this person know that she's almost in the front row, and she's covering the screen for like a bunch of people behind her? And then, obviously, my friend hit her seat like a number of times.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, like,
That's
some
a weird
people
one.
just are not aware at all that
Yeah.
other people exist. There was that, and then there was a very annoying guy in Eden who shouted during the bomb. You know, where there's that like really
Yeah.
quiet moment, because I think not a lot of people remember that light travels faster than sound.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, I'm like, yes, light travels faster than sound.
Yeah.
And
That's why it's called the speed of light.
and this guy just goes boom.
Idiot.
Oh my god!
I've been quite blessed.
Breaking all
Like,
the tension.
since moving to Scotland, I haven't really had like any bad audiences. In fact, the last bad audience I had was when I went to go and watch Spider-Verse, which was at Eden in Malta.
Oh no.
Whereas it's just people talking like a running commentary throughout the film. Then again, I'm the kind of person, I have zero issue turning around and being like, "Shut the fuck up, please." Like, I have no issue doing it. So,
Mala. You know, the worst audience I ever watched, but it was my fault as well. We went to watch Spider-Man, the big Spider-Man, the one which had Tobey Maguire and
No Way
Andrew
Home.
Garfield. No Way Home. I went to watch it with my workmates right after school, and that was a mistake because we went right after school. It was the beginning of the Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, the cinema was packed.
Yeah.
There were like two football clubs who had all the kids from their nursery, and a bunch of families with kids there. Yeah. It was like literally kids, coaches, and us, and we're teachers, so we're like, oh, holidays, finally, no more kids.
Yeah.
And we go to the cinema and all we see our kids, like, and the age of our students, like 12, 13-year-olds. Oh no. And oh my god, it's probably one of the reasons why I really hated No Way Home.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it as much as I think I should have. But yeah, that was a nice little bit about our cinema experiences. Anything else, Joe, you've watched this week?
No, I'm kind of like I'm searching for a TV show that really like scratches the itch that I've got. But the problem is I don't even know what the itch I have is. Like, it's really difficult. I don't know. Actually, to be fair, I did kind of start The Righteous Gemstones because apparently that's very good. I like Danny McBride. I like Adam Devine. It's got a good cast, good ratings. I've watched 3 episodes so far, and it's it's okay. It's pretty good so far. I don't know if I'll stick with it. If they're short, if they're short seasons, I'll probably stick with it because it's only got 3 seasons out as well. So if they're like 6-episode seasons or 8-episode seasons, I can probably stick with that. But yeah, nothing's really like it. It's a shame because the first like part of the year was so like heavy loaded of like really good television series.
Now when I get into the stuff I've been watching, I'll have a recommendation for you, Joe.
Okay.
Most of the series I've been watching have not been very good.
Yeah.
As you see in the reviews. But there's one series that really, really, really piqued my attention, and I've been watching it, and generally recently I've been like almost forgetting about series. Like I start a series and it's so not memorable or so
Yeah.
that it's not that I actively stop myself from watching it. I'm like, I can't, because I as you know, I generally don't do that. I just if I start something, usually I just forget about the series.
Yeah.
Like The Crowded Room, I just completely forgot about that and
Yeah.
stopped watching it. Not because I wanted to stop, just nothing special was happening.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I did the
bad.
same with Yellow Jackets. I watched 2 episodes and
Uh-huh.
I was like, if you can't hook me in your first 2 episodes of at least like something, like
Hmm.
I'm not going to continue.
Yeah. So what have I been up to? Basically, I finished The Witcher, season 3, part 2. You've never been into The Witcher, right, Joe?
Games, yes. Anything else, no.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll talk about it in the review. The games, however, the adaptation by the games are, I mean, it's just such quality compared to the series.
Yeah.
They have some good things, huh? The Witcher series, the Netflix series, have some good aspects to it. Don't get me wrong; it's not a complete disaster.
Yeah.
Some people, the discourse about it is very, very like, it's so like Henry Cavill has. It's not his fault at all. I mean, Henry Cavill seems like a really good dude, but he's built this like cult behind him now.
Yeah.
Many of them also the Snyder part of the Snyder cult online, which is this group of
Yeah.
perennially online people on Twitter.
Yeah. I've grown to hate that fandom.
Oh my god, same here. And I really like Zack Snyder, and I really like
Yeah.
Henry Cavill, because Zack Snyder seems like the chillest dude in the world. He
Yeah.
just loves movies. He loves comic books. But oh god, man, the discourse online from some of them is
Just a lot.
Jesus, too much. So yeah, so I'll review that later on. Secret Invasion, like I said, I finished it last Thursday. I've been watching it with my dad, and every time I go to my parents' house, I watch an episode with my dad, which I'll review as well. Sorry, Dad. And I watched, obviously, I watched, as I said before, I watched Oppenheimer as well, and I watched Little Women, which I noticed. I thought I had watched it, but I actually had watched like 2 or 3 versions of the movie, but I hadn't watched the Greta Gerwig version.
Okay, yeah,
of
there's a couple of versions of Little Women. Yeah.
There's like 7 versions of it.
Yeah.
There's so many adaptations. I was looking at the list. Yeah, I watched the Greta Gerwig, the 2019, I think, movie. And
Yeah,
wow, I
2019,
was
yeah.
shocked by how much I loved it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really good.
the cast is amazing. I was discussing, because I watched it with my parents. I watched it with my mom and dad. We were discussing. I think actually the actress I least liked in it was probably not that she did anything wrong. Just the rest were so good. Was Emma Watson? I think she
Yeah.
felt the weakest
Yeah,
from all of
like
them.
you've got 2 like absolute heavyweights, and like Saoirse Ronan and Florence Pugh, like leading the
Yeah,
charge. And
Saoirse
like,
Ronan was. Oh my god, she
yeah.
was so good. The energy in her performance
Yeah.
was impressive. Like like Florence Pugh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, obviously she was amazing, and I loved the development of her character, the way she matured, and that was great. But Saoirse Ronan, oh my god, the energy in that performance was stunning. Like, she wasn't nominated for that for Little Women.
I think she was, yes.
She was?
Yes, yes, because even Florence Pugh was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. So
Yeah. She was great. Florence Pugh was also very good. But even the direction, the camera work, the cinematography, it was beautiful. It was a beautifully made movie. Even just I'm someone who really admires like the set pieces and the buildings behind and like the way the scene is set. These kinds of things really get me excited when I'm watching a movie, and the camera work and everything in this movie was beautiful. So I just loved it. I loved it. Like I was 1 hour in. I'm something like, it's been like 20 minutes, and I look at my mobile and then an hour has passed. And then, wow,
Yeah.
that was fast.
Yeah.
It's a really fun movie as well.
Yeah.
Very, very fun movie. I had a blast. So that's Little Women. If you haven't watched it, guys, make sure you check it out by Greta Gerwig. It's available on Netflix, which I was happy to watch. What else have I been up to? I think that's pretty much it. Oh, my recommendation for a series, Joe. So
Mhm.
I've been watching Hijacked, which is
I've
the
heard a lot about Hijack.
TV,
Yeah,
Apple TV Plus, or just Apple TV,
I think
Apple
Apple
TV
TV Plus. I think.
Plus
Yeah,
series,
the Idris Elba series. No.
starring Idris Elba,
Yeah,
and oh my god,
yeah. I've heard it's really solid entertainment.
it's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's been keeping my attention, and every week on Wednesday, like the first thing I do when I wake up, obviously, now I'm not working because I wake up, work out. Um, uh, by the way, I'm not working because I'm a teacher, so it's summer. I wake up, work out, and switch on television to watch Hijacked.
Yeah.
Like, it's that fun. I'm not telling you it's like the best series ever or anything, not
Yeah.
even close. But it's very tense, very good tension in that series. Idris Elba's great, really, really good, really, really great performance by him. And overall, I've been having a blast watching it. And I'm telling you, a lot of series have been losing me recently, but Hijacked really, really keeps my attention. And and there are certain scenes in it, even the political development that has taken place in the last two episodes has been very interesting. I was scared it was going to get bogged down a little bit in politics and whatnot, because the plane scenes are just so good. But now the story is developing also in London, and like there's the whole politics element to it. It's very good, very, very solid series. So I would highly recommend watching it, Joe.
I've been tempted to start it. One of the podcasts I listen to all the time, The Watch, they're like crazy about it. So I might have to join the hype.
Good. I want to be one of the people spreading the word about it because I don't think enough people are watching it for how good it is. The quality series. Even the production design, everything quality. Like Apple TV makes some really good series. Right? It's a very like for the price. What is it like €5? I think it's a really really solid streaming platform to have.
Yeah.
For what €5 or whatever it costs.
Yeah.
They make some good stuff.
It's pretty good when you're one of the most powerful companies in the world. So
yeah. I mean, for them, it's pretty much an advertisement.
exactly.
Right? Like even the fact that you're watching, and now they're even releasing movies.
Yeah.
Because now the Killers of the Flower Moon is an Apple TV production, right?
Yeah. Coda, which won Best Picture last year.
Coda as well.
Apple TV.
I mean, in the case of Killers of the Flower Moon, it's not going to happen. But even the fact that in these kind of movies and series, you've got people using iPhones and other Apple products. That's an advertisement for them. So I can see the sense behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much my week. I believe that's pretty much my week. So I think we can get into the trailers now, Joe. And the first trailer we're going to talk about is Loki Season 2. Now, I know, Joe, you're not obviously a fan
No, I haven't seen Loki Season 1, so I have
of the Disney Plus series. I watched it. I was actually quite surprised. I'm going to be honest, I didn't mind it at all. I thought some of the criticism for it was very, very harsh. I did quite like it. I thought the season finale was decent as well. Some of it was the middle part. It's been a while since I watched Loki now. It's been like a couple of years now, so it's not like I'm a bit hazy on the details. But from what I remember, it was like episode 3 and 4 were a bit, really bit slow, a bit too slow, and it lost me a little bit. But overall, I had a good time watching Loki. It was one of my more one of the better Disney Plus series, to be honest. Not too many of those. I mean, there was Miss Marvel, which was very good. There was WandaVision, which was excellent. And apart from that, I mean, that's pretty much all I can remember with regard to good series. And Loki. And Moon Knight. First couple of episodes of Moon Knight were excellent, but then it fell off hard. Oh my God, that fell off hard. But to talk about Loki, the Loki Season 2 trailer, which came out like literally 4 hours ago, the God of Mischief is back to cause more chaos. And as you can see, we've got Ki-Hugh Kwan, who's going to be apparently an important character in this Season 2. So Loki, and to go through the big picture, Loki and Mobius must chase down Sylvie and navigate the multiverse in Loki Season 2 while dealing with the consequences of her decision to kill he who remains. New characters will join the cast as the Marvel Cinematic Universe expands its multiversal arc in Phase 5. And Ki-Hugh Kwan's TVA archivist is front and center in the brand new trailer. So yeah, the trailer focuses a lot on Ki-Hugh Kwan for obvious reasons, right? He's right now he's the big name, the talk of the town, and obviously we're not going to be focusing too much on Loki, which is on sorry, not Loki, on God, on our antagonist, who is Kang, on Kang.
Yeah.
Not too much focus on Kang, because that's the big elephant in the room, right, Joe?
Yeah.
What's going to happen with Kang?
Yeah. Still don't know.
No idea so far. Nothing. Like we've not heard anything, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, if it was up to you, if you were in charge of the MCU right now and you had to take a decision on what to do with the Kang character, what would be your first thought?
It's really tough. It's a really, really tough one. Because I mean, I'm a firm believer in innocent until proven guilty. That's the reason why we have the legal system that we do have. We do live now in a society that you are guilty once accused. But it's a really tough one, and as well from a business point of view. You can't exactly just put it on hold, can you? Well, what you've tried to set up with the amount of investors and different jobs at stake of putting things on hold.
And that's the central big baddie of the whole thing.
It's a really tough one because you can't. I wouldn't even say that you can't even temporarily recast him to bring him back to be oh, Kang takes on different forms or something, so he can look a little bit different. Because then, what if the person that you recast becomes a fan favorite and does a much better job, and then say Jonathan Majors does get proven innocent of what he's accused of, and then you bring him back? There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be no, I don't believe the verdict. He's still guilty in my eyes. And other people will be oh, the other guy was so good. So it's just a really, really, really bad situation.
I mean, you can have a Johnny Depp kind of result,
yeah,
where everyone would be happy. But Johnny Depp is such a popular guy. He pulled in the crowd.
Yeah, and he also did the extremely intelligent thing by completely publicizing that entire saga. So even though just to briefly speak on the Johnny Depp thing, I don't think anyone's takeaway from that should be Johnny Depp is totally innocent and it's all Amber Heard's fault. I think they are both troubled people who found each other. She just might be slightly more troubled than he is.
Yeah. It's an awkward one though, right? Because he's been such front and center of everything, and then that came out. I think he was probably, if not the most popular actor in Hollywood.
Yeah, no, he was on a hot streak.
Top 5. He was on the biggest hot streak ever.
He had a big film.
Success.
Yeah, a big film at Sundance came out as well, which is yet to come out this year. It's a toughie. It's a real toughie.
I think what they're doing with the Loki trailer is the best they can do so far. Bring in someone who's very popular, like Ki-Hugh Kwan, put him front and center of the trailer, and just have one scene of him appearing. All we have is that one scene, right, in this trailer. This is the only time we see Kang appearing in this trailer, with Kang obviously being the main antagonist of the Loki series.
Mm-hmm.
And hope for the best.
Yeah.
If shit hits the fan, then I guess you have to recast, right? But these cases take years and years. So by the time there's a verdict, I don't know where we're going to be with the MCU. Obviously, then in 2025, unless which I would assume there are going to be more delays with that as well, we're going to have the big Avenger movies coming out as well, involving obviously taking on Kang.
Yeah, I mean, with the TV shows, Bob Iger has said that without saying that they're done with the TV shows, he's kind of said they're done for now with the TV shows. So I guess with Loki, it's done, it's finished, and they're just kind of farting it out, and it will be what it will be. but I don't think there's like any big forthcoming TV shows set in the Marvel universe now.
Yes, I
I mean,
believe
there's going to be Daredevil, but that has no release date.
there are some other. There's Madam Web, I believe, as well.
No, Madam Web's a Sony film.
That's a Sony one.
That's a
Sony film.
Yes.
All right. Okay. That was a really good cast. I was looking at the cast.
There's Daredevil Born Again, which that has no release date. I don't think it has started filming.
They were filming. There were some images of them.
Yeah.
Of
well,
them
they're definitely
filming
not filming now because of the strike. Blade, which is like still yet to even really exist.
I swear Blade just does not exist. It's just a name being put up for the fans, and then secretly they're not actually doing anything about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does not exist. But to bring it back to Loki season 2, I think the one thing I really liked about this series, about season 1, was the dynamic between these two characters, Mobius and Loki. There was fantastic chemistry between the two characters. So I hope the focus will be specifically on Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston kind of working together to try and solve this issue that Loki has, and that he's kind of like unwittingly traversing between one universe to another, apparently, for what I'm getting from it. But he can't control it, and that's why they go to Ki Hugh Kwan's character to try and solve this issue that Loki has. If the dynamic is still there between Loki and Mobius, I think it can be a fun series, and I'll definitely watch it because I had a good time with season 1. But we'll see how that develops. So that's the first trailer we had. Moving on to the next trailer.
Is this Ant-Man 4? Oh shit, Zachary Levi's in this. I thought he would get cancelled.
Talking about Jonathan Majors. We've got Ant-Man 4 to talk about. Spy Kids Armageddon. Trailer takes Gina Rodriguez and Zachary Levi hostage. Joe, did you watch all the original Spy Kids movies?
I definitely seen 3 of them because there was Spy Kids 2, and then Spy Kids 3D.
3D.
Yes.
Yeah, so 3D.
I've definitely seen 3D. And like, to be completely honest, on the Spy Kids films, I think they're perfectly fine kids movies.
I agree. I haven't watched them since I was a kid, but
but I think they are perfectly aimed at like that kind of like, not like basically like a 7 to 10-year-old. It's in that kind of range where they don't need something like so asinine and stupid, but it's that slightly bit smarter. But no, I still like the originals when I was a kid.
I remember my school taking us San Anton, taking us out on an outing to. I think we went to watch it in Bujibba, in the Bujibba cinemas.
I'm pretty sure we went on the same outing with St. Martin's as well. So.
To go and watch. I don't know if it was Spy Kids 2. I think it was.
It definitely wasn't 3D. But it might
2. No, 3D I watched with my parents. I remember watching that with my parents with the fucking glasses. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Those glasses.
Well, what a time to be alive.
The red and green. Were they red and green or red and
blue?
Red and blue, Madonna. And every single scene is like,
yeah,
something splashing or something for the 3D effect. That was so corny. But I mean, they were fun. They were fine. They were fine for kids. I don't know if you've watched this trailer, Joe. I'll just put it up now. It's directed by Robert Rodriguez.
He's actually directing.
The one thing I'm happy about this is that there isn't that. Well, I guess now I mention it, there is a bit of that yellow tinge to it.
Yeah, it's a Rodriguez movie, so like, there kind of has to be.
I mean, oh my God, that this scene. Franco would freak out if he was here. I mean, I don't want to hate on child actors. They're kids.
Yeah. Do you know what my biggest nitpick here is going to be? And I know it's a movie called Spy Kids, and I know it's meant to be silly. I think they've gone with kids that are too young.
Yes, my same thought. They're too young.
They're way because there has to be like, I guess like if they're aiming at an even younger audience of like 5 to 6 year olds, maybe. Sure.
Like they're too young. Shouldn't they be like? How old were like? Let me look at the posters. Like Spy
Oh no, if you
Kids
look at the posters, they do not look that young. Like of
one,
the original Spy Kids.
Spy Kids
They
one.
they
No,
they
they weren't that young.
yeah, they look maybe like respectively like 12 and 10.
No, they're 12-year-olds. 10,
These
12
one
year
these
olds.
ones
The
look
young kid is
these ones look like 7 and 8. Like they look very young.
there. It's interesting because when you're the producer for this movie, right, Joe? And you're producing the new Spy Kids movie. Who are you? Which audience are you aiming for? Are you aiming for the kids who are who watched it and now are going to come back? Now they're our age, like 30, 29, 30, 31,
Yeah.
and who want to like remember their childhood and oh yes, Spy Kids. Or are you going for a really young audience? Who do
Yeah.
you advertise this for? Who do you make this for?
The thing is, like, I don't know. Like, it's going to sound really harsh what I'm about to say here. And again, I admitted that the original Spy Kids movies, they were perfectly fine kids movies, but I just don't think it's an IP worth rebooting. Like they were perfectly fine kids movies, the originals, but like I never ever once thought. I mean, this could just be me. I could just be like on a hill by myself. I never ever once thought throughout the years like, holy shit, I wish they'd make another Spy Kids movie. you know, and I don't know who has, but like this seems like a very fresh reboot with like no actual connection to the previous characters, at least from what I've seen.
I believe it's. Let me go through the article. So it hits Netflix on September 22nd. So that's quite
It's
soon.
very soon.
Netflix has released the first trailer. Streaming platform was announced that the film will be added to their catalog on September 22nd. A new generation of Spy Kids is about to take the spotlight in an
Yeah.
adventure that will prove the new characters have everything it takes to save their parents from dangerous villains. Zachary Levi and Gina Rodriguez play the parents of the new heroes, setting the stage for a fun ride. Robert Rodriguez is back in the director's chair after having worked on the franchise for more than 2 decades. Filmmaker helmed the first movie in the series alongside the sequels that have been released since then. In addition to the movies, Rodriguez developed I didn't know about this, an animated series for Netflix titled Spy Kids Mission Critical. In that story, the siblings from the original films have new missions to accomplish, filling in the gaps left between films. Franchise continues to expand as evil doesn't take a break from threatening the young heroes of this universe. I don't know.
Do you know what would have been a better decision? I think with this, if this was a series on Netflix, that's a much better decision, if you ask me.
I think a series would have been better. I agree.
Because a series as well, you can watch the kids like grow up, and then if you're aiming that at like a very young demographic, that's something they can get invested in. Like if you did it as kind of like do it like a cartoon back in the day, 25-minute episodes, adventure of the week, Spy Kids.
True. Obviously, you have the issue of the parents. Like, are the parents always going to be away?
Well, no. I mean, like, lose the gimmick of the parents being in trouble and the kids having to save them. You know, do something different. These kids are, or make like the first season is the parents get kidnapped and the kids have to rescue them. Then the season after that is, okay, the kids have done this like big mission where they pulled off saving their parents. Then they're going to go into proper spy training, and then they're going to go on their own actual missions and stuff. Netflix. I mean, I'm here waiting for a job. You know, I'll just generate ideas for you guys.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's the Spy Kids Armageddon trailer. I mean, I don't know if I'll watch it. Spy Kids.
I don't think I will. Again, like
it's a big part of my childhood, though. To be fair,
I can't. I'm trying to like think, and I'm going like, is it really like? I think, despite enjoying those films, I think I only ever watched them once each.
No, we watched them so many times.
And I admittedly, I did watch the spin-off of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
And Shark Boy and Lava Girl, that was good as well.
Yeah, that was when Rodriguez was smoking something at the time, and I don't know what
that was fun, though. No,
it was just fun and silly. It was like the birth of Taylor Lautner as well.
Yes. Lalo Shark Wine Lava Girl, memory. Yeah, well, that's Spy Kids, guys. Interested? Do you think you'll be watching it? I don't know. Maybe my girlfriend will make me watch it. I don't know if my girlfriend's a fan of Spy Kids, actually. I'll ask her after. Maybe she'll make me watch it. Guess I'll find out
Yeah, good luck.
September 22nd. We'll see. So that's Spy Kids Armageddon. The final trailer. I'm going to be honest. Joe, how are you on the Saw lore and Saw like movies?
I have watched the first 3 of them.
Okay.
And
right.
that
there's
is
10 of them. This is the 10th one.
as far as I know, that is when they were like good and had like a legitimate good plot. Apart from just we're going to kill people in very elaborate ways.
Yeah, because this is Saw 10, by the way, for our Spotify listeners, because I haven't mentioned the title. The trailer for Saw 10, Saw X. Jigsaw lives, and so do all of his deadly puzzle traps in the first official trailer for Saw X. Lionsgate pulled the curtain back on the new installment in the horror series at Midsummer Screen Festival on Saturday evening. While the plot for the 10th entry in the Saw franchise has been kept under wraps, Project has long teased the return of Tobin Bell as the serious killer kidnapper. Jigsaw, the actor, originated the role in 2004 Saw, but died at the end of Saw 3. I think I watched the first 3, actually, now you mention it. Saw 1, Saw 2, and Saw 3. Even so, the character was a driving creative force, and Bell signed on for several sequels, appearing in flashbacks as the series contorted itself into one of the most labyrinthine
none
chronologies
of it makes sense
in modern franchise filmmaking. Spiral from the Book of Saw.
I think that was directed by Chris Rock as well. Like, I know he was in it. I didn't watch it.
The studio has affirmed that Saw X will capture fans' hearts and other body parts with all new twisted ingenious traps and a new mystery to solve. I mean, well, there's James Wan as producing it, executive producer. Have you watched the trailer, Joe?
I've seen bits of it, yeah.
Same old, to be honest.
Yeah, just it's got that blue tinge that all Saw movies have.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we went yellow. We went
yellow now. Oh, boy.
Did Robert
Rodriguez part.
Yeah, like,
and back to blue.
I don't know if Saw has like a huge fan base following. I suppose it must have some kind of following for them to make 10 of them. Do I care?
Must go watch
Not really.
No, I don't either. And I watched the trailer, and it really did not pique my interest in any way.
The old ones, like, as I said, like the first 3 had like a decent plot to them, but they were essentially just like torture porn and gore porn.
Pretty much.
They were kind of like the start of that boom in the 2000s for torture porn. And I love horror, but it just doesn't do it for me.
I love horror as well. Like, I'll go watch any horror movie in the cinemas. But like, it's the same old, right? This is so predictable.
Yeah, like, I know there's going to be a bunch of people in a room. I know at most 2 of them are going to make it out alive. And I know the rest are going to die in extremely elaborate and gory ways.
Yeah.
Which, again, for some people, that's what gets them going. It doesn't get me going.
It must have an audience, though, right? Like, this movie must have an audience. Like, let me, out of curiosity, let me see the last Saw movie that came out, which was that one.
Spiral, the Book of Saw.
Spiral. And what I'm going to do is, where's that? Here we go. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to look up its box office really quickly, and that will tell us a lot. So its box office, its gross revenue was $40.62 million US.
Against the budget of what?
And the budget was 20 million. So I mean, they pretty much, that's 20 million, and plus you always have to add 20 million of marketing. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's breaking even pretty much.
Yeah, it wasn't well reviewed as well.
No, not at all. So I don't know. Although, to be fair, this is 2021, so
yeah, slightly COVID-y still.
Yeah, still slightly COVID-y. So that could have. At the same time, I'm looking at this article. Spiral leads box office, makes Saw A $1 billion franchise.
Well, there we go. There we go.
That brings his box office total to 15.8 million and the combined gross of all 9 Saw movies to greater than $1 billion worldwide.
Fair play.
I mean, yeah, $1 billion.
Clearly, it's got some form of audience.
So clearly, yeah, people watch it. At least people watch it. Let's put it that way. I don't think I will though. Like I
Yeah, no, I have zero investment in that.
Like, for example, a series I really enjoy watching is the Scream series, for example. That's a really fun horror series because it's tongue in cheek. You know what you're getting in for, and there are some fun killings and fun horror moments. There's a lot of funny moments as well, and the last two Scream movies have actually been very good as well.
Yeah, and you take into account as well that Scream came out late 90s?
Late 90s,
the first
yeah.
one, and there's only been 6 of them.
6 of them, yeah. Exactly.
Saw came out in the early to mid 2000s, and there's been 10 of them.
Yeah. And the original Scream was such a 90s movie, so that is like pure 90s fun, that movie. And the last two Scream have been very, very like 2020s movies then.
Yeah.
Like the last Scream, for example, the fact that I mean, even the set pieces and so on, they're very well done. I had a very good time watching Scream 6. In the case of Saw, I've never been to like, I should go watch the next Saw movie. Never pulled me in.
Yeah,
so,
same.
I mean, even the photo, this scene, blue.
Yeah, extremely blue.
So blue. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much all the trailers that came out this week. Not too much, not too much going on there, but we've got a bit of news now to talk about. So we'll move on to the news section of the show. And the first news piece to talk about is the incredible box office success Barbie and Oppenheimer have been having. So this is the second weekend. And in the second weekend, Barbie scores a massive $93 million. With Oppenheimer adding a huge $46 million. This is obviously the American box office, obviously not including worldwide. It's a Barbenheimer world, and we're just living in it.
Yep.
The collective force of Barbie and Oppenheimer continue to rule the box office in their second weekends of release, providing another needed jolt as to Hollywood strikes threaten the fragile exhibition industry. Greta Gerwig's cotton candy colored fantasy comedy again led the way, adding a massive $93 million between Friday and Sunday. Ticket sales for Barbie declined just 43%. That's insane. Like 43% decline is just incredible. Usually it happens when you have a movie which makes like 10, 15 million.
Yeah.
But at these numbers, like Spider-Man, the big oh my god, I forgot the name again. No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home had like a 70% drop off.
Yeah.
And that was a massive success. Like this having 43% drop off is insane. Like people would say, oh, 43% drop off, that's really bad. That's really good. That's really good. Excellent. That's like expectations would have been much lower than this, definitely.
Yeah.
The only movies that enjoyed bigger sophomore outing tallies were billion-dollar behemoths like Star Wars, Force Awakens, Avengers Endgame, Infinity War, Black Panther, Jurassic World, and The Avengers. So like some pretty lofty company there.
Yeah.
In the case of Christopher Nolan, and then we'll get into the discussion, Joe, about this, Christopher Nolan's dark historical drama also had a stellar sophomore outing, taking in a mighty $46.6 million over the weekend. According to Universal, it became the first R-rated film to gross more than $10 million for 7 days in a row on Friday. That streak extended to 10 days through the weekend. Weekend 2 proves that the outpouring of interest in Barbie and Oppenheimer a week ago was not a fluke. Both films, says Paul Dergarabedian, a senior ComScore analyst, both films put up second weekend numbers that would have been considered solid as debuts and reflect two of the best sophomore session holds in box office history. And those are the numbers. So far, Barbie has generated $1.4 million in North America.
In North America.
And the film has grossed $774 million worldwide and ranks already as the third largest film of the year. In the case of Oppenheimer, it has earned $174 million at the domestic box office and $400 million at the global box office, and already outperformed two of Nolan's previous efforts, Tenet, $365 million, and Batman Begins, $373 million.
That last line is really significant.
Lots to unpack there, Joe.
Not the Tenet part. The Tenet part is a skewed statistic because Tenet came out pretty much mid-pandemic. So that skews it a lot. It came out on streaming
released online, on HBO Max.
Yeah, the fact that a 3-hour-long rated R drama with no action has made more money than a Batman movie.
After 10 days?
Yes, is extremely significant. And also, we're leaving out the fact with Oppenheimer, it has not yet released in two huge markets, being China and Japan.
Is it going to release in Japan?
They don't know yet. It's going to release in China on. In fact, I think it just released in China today. I think, in fact.
Oh, okay. I don't think it'll be that popular though in China, will it?
I don't know. But you're talking about a country which is like a third of the world's population.
Even if it's not popular,
exactly. Even if it's not popular, it's still probably going to make about 10 million.
It's been impressive, right, Joe? Like, we were talking about the cinemas before. Like, every cinema is packed to the full. IMAX extending its Oppenheimer run, adding more weeks, because literally every IMAX is sold out.
Yeah,
like I've seen people
it's
worried because they can't find tickets.
But the biggest loser on Earth right now, and he's gone into complete hiding, is Tom Cruise. Why on earth did they not push Mission Impossible to the end of summer? What?
Man, Mission Impossible deserves so much more, so much better. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I know you weren't the biggest fan of it, Joe.
I thought it was fine. It is a very decent time at the cinema. I would encourage anyone to go and watch
so
it
much more
if they want good action at the cinema. But releasing it a week before this phenomenon was the dumbest decision on earth.
Yeah. I was going to get into it a little later on, Joe, because then I was going to talk about Haunted Mansion and then obviously get into the whole Talk to Me, which has been doing very good. And finally, obviously, Mission Impossible. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this movie as well, Sound of Freedom. We'll get into all of that.
Yeah, I've been seeing it in common threads everywhere. But
we'll discuss it in a little bit. But to conclude the Barbenheimer week, it's this phenomenon. It's crazy to talk. We haven't talked about it so far, Joe, because obviously you haven't been on the show in the past couple of weeks. Like, how, if you had to say, do you think the fact that Oppenheimer came out with Barbie really boosted it that much? Or do you think this is more a Christopher Nolan being such a well-known, such a powerhouse director? Or is it just a mix of both?
I think it's a perfect cocktail. I think a Christopher Nolan film by itself, he is he's the kind of person where if you tell what, like, at least I would refer to as like a film normie, as like someone who just like is a very casual viewer of films, if you tell them Christopher Nolan, they will know at least one of his films, like, straight away. As soon as it's Christopher Nolan, someone will go,
Inception, bro. That's
exactly.
Good, bro.
Someone will go Inception, or they'll go The Dark Knight. Like, he is a legit household name, so he does have that power. I mean, that's the reason. Like, we have to consider Tenet, despite not being a critical darling like his films normally are, and not being a massive like money machine like his films normally are. All things considered, of the fact that it was released pretty much mid-pandemic and it was released on streaming at the same time, the fact that it made $365 million is still incredibly impressive.
Really incredible. Like, mid-COVID, so everyone's scared to go out and going to the cinemas. The cinemas, COVID center.
Cinemas were social distance anyway, so they were at 50% capacity.
Yeah, out on streaming, so you can literally switch on your television and watch it there, and still makes $365 million. Which I think is actually very impressive.
Hugely impressive when you consider the circumstances. So yes, he does have that power of, this is a Christopher Nolan film. People will go see it because it's a Christopher Nolan film. But It's actually it's a really funny thing. I've seen like a couple of like memes about it, but a lot of people, they go on about the marketing campaign for Barbie and how huge it was and how out there it was. And in a way, it's like Oppenheimer got free marketing because of it. Because
Yes.
or like
Yes.
I remember they were saying like, oh, like Barbie's like they built the fucking Malibu beach house and stuff. They're putting all
They spent 150 million
they're putting
on
all this pink
marketing.
shit everywhere, and all the marketing team of Oppenheimer did is every couple of weeks leading up to the film, they would release a still from the movie of some character in the film looking really sad and or shocked, and that is all they would do.
And Nolan giving interviews, basically, because
Yeah.
Nolan gave a couple of really good interviews. He was on some YouTube channels as
Yeah,
well,
but because
answering questions.
it shows as well that power of like the internet, because the internet went,
Yes.
holy shit,
Yes.
you've got a film about a fucking doll and a film from one of the biggest directors there's arguably ever been about one of the biggest events in human existence coming out on the same day. The internet just fucking went with it.
And it's also been a social media phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like on social media, my Instagram is full of memes
the
about
memes
Oppenheimer
are
and Barbie.
everywhere. But there's even like people are getting creative. Like one of my favorite ones was, there was a billboard in LA. It had a countdown. It had like Oppenheimer billboard, and it had a live countdown to when the film was going to release. I saw someone did a funny video. They're filming it, and when it gets to 0, like they just like did an effect like it just fucking explodes. It was good.
Another really good one I saw on Instagram was people watching Barbie, and suddenly like you hear boom,
Yeah.
and there's like a CGI effect of the wall on the right exploding, and then you see on the screen the atomic bomb will return. That was so good. That made me laugh so much. And like all these memes of like people going out in like really dark black suits.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you're going to watch Oppenheimer, right? And like there was one, he pulled down his trousers and he had like pink tongues.
Yeah.
and that's really good. Or else another really funny one was there were these guys and someone pulls up a few guys, they're his friends pull up like, hey bro, what are you gonna watch? You're gonna watch Oppenheimer, you love movies, right? You usually go watch. And he's like, I'm gonna go watch Barbie. You're gonna watch what? I'm gonna watch Barbie. And they all start laughing, and then they park, and they all come out wearing like pink
Of course,
stuff, and it's a pink bag, and it's these memes are so good, but and they all get like millions of views on Instagram, so that's free marketing, right there.
Yeah, that's exactly what did it, and the Oppenheimer team played it really well by just being really quiet and continuing to do their thing.
Yep.
And now everyone involved in both films is reaping the rewards. Ryan Gosling has never been hotter, I don't think. He's ever been more popular than this.
True.
Because the amount, like when you just say like social media and memes, the amount of Ryan Gosling memes in my algorithm at the moment, and I like every single one of them because of the he's literally me stuff, and then he's just
he's literally me stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it even got to the point where I went on a bender on Saturday night. I got very, very drunk. Where both me and my friend, we had filmed, and they were on Instagram stories. We had our Ken moments because a friend of mine put on like a big like fluffy jacket and started pretending to ride a horse, and then I was very drunk trying to dance like Ken. It blends into real life.
True.
It's mad. It's genuinely mad.
It's true. Moving on. Haunted Mansion. I mean, that release date. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Not the release date you wanted. It actually, and I was shocked. Do you know how much money they spent on Haunted Mansion?
Loads. It's such an expensive film.
150 million. They spent more on Haunted Mansion than Barbie and Oppenheimer.
It's mental.
Like, it's something's going on at Disney. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they don't really know what they're doing at the moment.
Haunted Mansion debuted in third place with 24.6 million. But obviously Disney spent 150 million to produce the film, and obviously promotional efforts will generally what people usually say in this industry is that you need to double that number to break even. So they need to make 200 million, and with 24.6 million on their debut weekend,
I don't think it's happening.
Not gonna make it. On the other hand, Talk to Me, Joe, did quite okay.
Yeah, it's the biggest opening for A24 since Midsummer.
Yeah, Talk to Me did quite okay.
Yeah,
And
because
considering I
good,
made
serious
a
horror
hefty
movies aimed at adults will always make money at any time of year.
second biggest start in wide release ever for A24, following Hereditary with
Yeah.
which had 13.6 million, and Hereditary was again
Yeah, and they probably
like a
made Talk to
big
Me
phenomenon as well.
with like $10 and like a dead lizard as their camera.
4.5 million.
Yeah, there you
go. And the horror genre, like Gross says, horror genre just so good for like new talent,
Yeah.
and it's the perfect starting point. I think we had discussed this once, right? If you want to start to make a movie,
somewhere like a short film, the easiest thing to do is horror.
Because
guaranteed you can do it the cheapest.
Yep. Because horror is very easy to make cheap. I mean, Skinamarink is the perfect example, right?
Exactly. Carlo de Boer literally made that with a dead lizard for a camera. So.
and that movie again was another social media phenomenon.
Yes,
like
hugely.
My Twitter for months was just Skinamarink memes.
Yeah, huge.
So horror is so good. And when you make a good horror movie,
we spoke with Kyle. He said the best thing that happened to that film, ironically, was the fact that it leaked.
Yes, it's true. True. To conclude, I wanted to mention quick. I was surprised. Elemental, because we talked about Elemental as a big box office failure, and actually, it's been doing really good. Apparently, Elemental has recovered in the following weeks, because basically the same amount of people who watched it on the first week kept on watching it. Because it's a movie aimed at kids, and I don't think there are that many movies aimed at kids right now.
There's nothing aimed at kids at the moment. I mean
Barbie, but like Barbie isn't really aimed at kids, right?
That's a weird one. So, like, my sister-in-law went to take my niece to watch Barbie the other day, and she was like, "Oh, like, is it any good?" I'm like, "Barbie's really good. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. I had a great fucking time at Barbie." But then I was thinking, like, my niece is like 7. She's not going to get 90% of the jokes that are in this film.
But she'll love the colors, she'll love the set pieces,
like,
and she'll love the costumes. So I think
Yeah.
kids can have fun.
Yeah.
I think kids can have fun.
I wouldn't say there's anything
watching
like
Barbie.
strictly inappropriate for kids as well, because the jokes which are like aimed at adults, they're like
you can't fly away.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be an adult. Though I did really laugh at the prospect of my niece picking up the term "I'll beat you off," and I really hope that she has, and I really hope she starts saying that just to make things awkward for my brother. But yeah.
Mission Impossible we talked about.
Yeah.
A very unfortunate release date. And this is the final one I wanted to mention, Joe. And I don't know if you've heard about it. Sound of Freedom.
I have.
Which has earned, listen to this, Joe, has earned more money than Fast X, Pixar's Elemental, and Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible, The Reckoning Part 1.
The only place where I've heard about this film, so I heard about it when I saw a post about Barbie and Oppenheimer. And I clicked the comment section, and then people were mentioning like, "Oh, like don't go see these movies, go and see Sound of Freedom." And I'm like, "What the fuck is this Sound of Freedom thing?" And I looked it up, and I was like, I still don't really know what it's about. I don't think it is coming out in the UK, but apparently it's making a shitload of money in the US.
I think it will. So far, it's only released in the US, but apparently it's been so successful in the US that they're going to be releasing it worldwide in the coming months. So they will release it worldwide in the coming months. I've heard a little bit. I know some people have accused it of being like conservative propaganda, and there have been lots of discussions about apparently they have this scheme of pay it off. So people just buying tickets and not going there. So cinemas are empty, even though they're sold out. I don't know. It's a weird one, because it's a weird, again, pushed very much by in this case, it's conservative social media, which is pushing it on Twitter and whatnot. I have to watch it, obviously. I can't judge it before I watch it, so I can't comment about it.
I hate the name.
Yeah, I mean, the name is an obvious signifier to whom it's aiming for, right?
It's got a 3.3 on Letterboxd, so it can't be that bad.
No, I've seen like the Jeremy Jan's review was quite positive for it. So I've seen some very respected reviewers giving it a good rating.
Seems to be. I mean, the plot synopsis makes it sound like it's based on a true story. So the story of Tim Ballard, a former U.S. government agent who quits his job in order to devote his life to rescuing children.
Yes, it's pretty much about child trafficking, basically. I've seen discussions about it. I have to watch it though before I can comment about it. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the kind of movie that I think will do really well in Maltese or with Maltese
Here's a
audiences.
funny thing.
Yeah.
So this is just a guy on Letterboxd who gave it half a star. Where I'll summarize. He's telling the story of how like this film. He only heard about it because he works at his local theater, and there were 2 sold out screenings, which he said is really strange because they don't normally sell out screenings in their small theater. He said it was really funny because he'd never seen so many mortified old white people in his life. But he said what like really turned him off is apparently this film is endorsed by the Department of Homeland Security, which is that's a bizarre thing, right?
That's fucking creepy.
Yeah. And the guy's saying here, so the film focuses on child sex trafficking to draw you in and then uses that as a gateway to much more dangerous themes. It scapegoats the sex trafficking world on Mexican cartels and only brings up the people in the US who buy these children when they are very much insinuating that it's the Democratic Party's politicians who buy them. Okay, serious accusation. I kind of want to watch this now.
Ooh boy, now I want to watch it. Because if this is like I had heard it had like conservative Republican propaganda in it. I didn't know it was that bad though.
Yeah,
because any discourse I see about it, I skip it.
Someone has called it the Holy Trinity: QAnon, Christian mission trips, and white savior complexes.
Ooh boy, now I really want to watch it. I hope they release it in Malta.
Yeah,
I've been seeing a lot of people commenting, by the way, on the Barbie Oppenheimer articles I see on Times of Malta and so on, and Love in Malta. I've been seeing a lot of people commenting, release Sound of Freedom in Malta.
Yeah, like it's a weird. It's got like a weird movement behind it.
Yeah. I don't know. But I have to watch it. We'll have to watch it. I'm guessing it will release in the UK though, Joe.
Someone said if you weren't convinced that child sex trafficking was a problem or was not good, then boy, do I have the movie for you.
Oh God. Important thing is white people will save them. Joe, that's the important thing.
Yes.
But I think, Joe, we can move on to the next article. This is just, I mean, there's not much to say here, but news came out on a few days ago that Donald Glover and his brother, Stephen Glover, are working on a Lando series at Disney Plus as Justin Simien exits. I guess he was going to direct it, but I guess there's going to be someone else working on it now. News first broke of a Lando Calrissian limited series being in the works in December 2020. At the time, Dear White People creator Justin Simien was attached to the project, though it would seem he's no longer attached, as Variety has been told the Glover brothers will be writing the series alone. Simien most recently directed Disney's Haunted Mansion, scheduled released this week. The deal was reached prior to the writer's strike. Originally played obviously by Billy D. Williams in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, Donald first stepped into the role in Ron Howard's 2018 Star Wars prequel movie Solo, which also showed the younger version of Han Solo with Alden Ehrenreich. Oh my God, I forgot how to say his surname. Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
Joe, I know you weren't the biggest fan of Solo, right?
No, I'm not a fan of Solo. So my thoughts on this are, and it really hurts me to say because I love Donald Glover as a creative, as an artist. I love his music. I do love Atlanta, the TV show he was basically the creator of. I just don't care about a Lando series. I just really, really, really fucking don't care. I mean, again, willing to be proven wrong because Andor did that for me, and Andor is, for me, one of the best TV shows of last year. One of the best TV shows I've seen in the last couple of years. So very much willing to be proven wrong. I will tune in for at least the first episode just to see what the overall vibe is.
I mean, his words here. I mean, obviously he's going to say this stuff,
Yeah,
but with such a he's such a creative person.
yeah,
He seems like the kind of person whose mind is just filled with ideas,
yeah.
and he seems like he's just a genuine talent. And reading these words again, I know
Yeah, but like,
what's he
are
going to
Disney
say.
going to let him really do his thing?
I think he's such.
I don't think he's got the same sort of power that like Tony Gilroy does, for example,
I
and
think
what they do
Donald
with
Glover
Lando.
is a very powerful person, though. I don't think you can interfere with his work.
Oh, I don't know.
Can you with Donald Glover?
We'll find out, I guess. Again, happy to be proven wrong. But I think
I'm,
what I want
mm,
from Star Wars and what I want from their TV, um, just do something else. Just go somewhere else. Leave the old characters alone now. Like you tried. Like the fact it's why the first season of The Mandalorian was the best one hands down. It didn't give a flying fuck about anything that came before it or after it. The only like
true, true,
reference you
true, true.
had to anything else in the Star Wars saga was the fact that the Empire still existed. And that was it. And that's
Yes,
fine
yes.
because the Empire in that era are the big bad. And that is absolutely fine.
Joe, I'm talking about the Empire because I've been wondering. We have never had like a project which focused entirely on the Empire, right?
No.
That's really
Yeah,
should be
right.
one
That would
of
be
the
a really good idea.
like focusing on, and don't make it where, oh god, you know what they're going to do though then is they'd get the character and just have them switch to the rebellion
yeah.
then. No, just make it about like maybe a person who maybe they're not completely 100% evil.
Yeah.
Make it like a gray area where like they're doing their job.
Yeah. Well, I say like leave characters alone. Who I would, I mean, unfortunately he's coming back in a context I do not want to see him back in, because one of the greatest like characters there has been in all of Star Wars, and he comes from old comics and most recently some books, and he even had quite an extended role in Star Wars Rebels, which is actually a very underrated cartoon. It
Hmm.
would be so cool. But again, you'd need to have like a Tony Gilroy
General
person do it.
Tron.
Yeah, Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn is an
Oh, Grand Tron, sorry.
incredible character that you could have a really special
Uh-huh,
short
uh-huh,
series of.
uh-huh.
But unfortunately, they're going to bring him back from the dead in the Ashoka TV series, which comes out
Yeah,
later this
yeah,
month,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is not the context I want to see him back in. But maybe he'll be
To
good.
be fair, it makes sense though him coming back in the Ahsoka series
If
because
you've watched
obviously there's the
Rebels, it
link
makes
of.
no sense whatsoever.
I haven't watched Rebels. I've watched the other series.
The Clone Wars.
Madonna, the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched like 3, 4 seasons.
Rebels is very underrated. The first season of Rebels is like very like kid focused, but then it just becomes like just like really good Star Wars stuff.
That's why I stopped watching it. It was too kiddie
Yeah,
for me.
the first season is really kiddie, but then from then on, it just gets it's just a good cartoon.
Can I skip the first season?
Yes, easily.
Because I watched like 3 episodes and I was like, yeah, this is not for me.
The finale of season 2 has one of my favorite Star Wars moments ever.
Nice.
Really, really good stuff.
Nice. And Rebels takes place.
Rebels takes place in that like fallow period where like the Empire is in like really like in its growing supreme power.
All right. So, all right. Okay. All right. Okay.
So similar sort of time where like Andor is taking place.
Yeah. Okay. With regard to the Lando series, I think, like we discussed, if we can give Donald Glover his freedom to be as creative as he can, I think there's potential.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential. And his words here give me some hope. So he said time is precious. Like he's been recognizing how with the pandemic, like time is a very precious thing. Time is valuable. You only get so much. Not interested in doing anything that's going to be a waste of my time or just a paycheck. I'd much rather spend time with people that I enjoy. Just has to be the right thing. And I think it could be. Lando is definitely somebody I like to hang out with. So you can tell there's passion in his, I mean, at least I hope there is. But I guess we'll find out. This will obviously take a long time to produce and work on, especially with all the strikes going on right now.
Yeah.
We won't be getting this series for years and years. To conclude the new segment, we can just go through this really quickly, Joe. We've got some delays, obviously. In this case here, we're going to be focusing on the Sony delay. Sony Pictures has made some significant release date shifts for its upcoming films, including Kraven the Hunter and Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Surprise, surprise. Obviously, we've got the whole SAG-AFTRA conflict. I mean, without the SAG-AFTRA conflict, I think Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse will probably still get delayed. But at this point, we've got Kraven the Hunter shifting to August 30th, 2024, from a planned October 6th outing this year. The push to next Labor Day is vital, Studio Insider said, as leading man Taylor Johnson would need to engage in a worldwide press tour to open the visceral action project in just over 2 months. In the case of Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, the third film in the blockbuster Lord and Miller animated franchise has been undated, meaning it was meant to open March 29, 2024, but now there literally is no date for it. Those are the big ones. And we've got Ghostbusters Afterlife, which has been delayed to Easter weekend next year, March 29, 2024. Karate Kid Reboot, which has been moved to December 13, 2024. And the Blumhouse Project Day Listen, also undated from a planned August 30, 2024 opening. And Madam Web, we mentioned it before.
Yeah.
Has been moved forward, actually. Interesting. 2 days earlier from its planned February 16th. Venom 3 also received a release date for July 12th, 2024. And Bad Boys for June 14th, 2024. Yeah, so some delays, mostly delays here, especially relevant for, in our interest, obviously, in the case of Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. You predicted this, Joe.
Yeah. For them, the strikes are the perfect excuse. It's like, the strikes, let's actually, guys, you know what? We're not going to delay it. We're just going to remove it from the release calendar. Because we really need the stars to promote this animated movie. Oh, God.
I mean, when they came up with the date, I was like, they must have done most of the work for this movie.
Even if they did, I was like, abso-fucking-lutely not. Is it coming a year later?
But then the actors start to come out and say, like, we haven't done any voice acting.
Nothing.
And I'm like, wait,
and
what?
then the VFX guys came out and they're like, yo, we haven't done shit on this movie.
Nothing for this. And like, there was obviously the discussion we had a few weeks ago, Joe, about like the hours they were working.
Yeah.
They were literally working like slave hours.
They were working 36 hours a day. Like,
and they still struggle to release it in year after years of work.
Yeah.
So like, this is going to come next year? I think not. So we probably have like at least 2 years for this to come out. At least 2 years.
At the very least.
And with that cliffhanger at the end, oh God, Across the Spider-Verse.
Yep, yeah. It's almost like when I said, am I going to care by the time the next one comes out? I might not.
I'm going to have to rewatch it right before. We'll see. But yeah, some delays for, Kraven delay it to eternity, to be honest. I don't think. I don't know about Kraven. But that's the news for today, guys. Any news we missed out on, let us know in the comment section below, because now we're going to move on to the reviews. Joe, do you want to start off with Talk to Me, or shall I
you can
start off with the series?
You can go ahead.
And then you can do Talk to Me, and then I'll do Secret Invasion.
Sure.
We'll do it that way. So, we're going to start off with the review section now, guys, of the show. We don't have too many like significant big reviews like we had obviously last week. We're going to be talking about a couple of series, The Witcher and Secret Invasion, and then Joe will be giving you his review for Talk to Me. So I'll start off with The Witcher Season 3, Part 2. And to start off with The Witcher, to give you my background with The Witcher, I've played all the games. I struggled with the first one. I loved the second one. Loved the story told in the second one. Gameplay action in the second one was a bit iffy, a bit janky. But the third game ranks there with my all-time favorite games. I have like 80 hours on PlayStation. like 150 hours on
Yeah.
PC because I bought it on both on
Yeah.
PlayStation and
I think
PC.
I've got about
I've
400 hours in The
replayed
Witcher
it.
3.
I've replayed it so many times. Like the game is just amazing, amazing. That's one of the best games ever. With regard to the books, I've read the first two books. I'm currently reading the third book. So obviously, season one covered books one and two. Season two covered book three, which is the book I'm reading currently now. So obviously, I haven't read the book Age of Contempt, which is season three, the book season three covers. So with regard to how accurate it is to the book, I cannot comment about that. I can only comment about what I've read online, which is that it's actually the most accurate so far, which I guess is a good thing and a bad thing, because we'll talk about that. Yeah, I'll mention that in my review. So let's get into it. Season three started with I don't know if there's a list of the series here. Season three starts off with probably the best episode of the whole season, which is Sherawed. Oh my god, Sherawed, Geralt, Yennefer and Ciri journey to the far reaches of the continent in search of a safe haven. King Vizimir puts his charming younger brother to use. This was pretty much the best episode of the season. Very good action. There was some amazing action. Henry Cavill, you know, he gives this role his all. He's the perfect Geralt. Like I couldn't. Liam Hemsworth is going to have a really tough time like replacing Henry Cavill in this, and I'm saying this with the biggest respect for Liam Hemsworth. I don't know if I've watched him in anything. I don't remember watching him in anything. I like Henry Cavill. I'm no like Henry Cavill fanboy. Like he's had some poor roles here and there. But he's perfect. He's just perfect in as Geralt, basically. He's a perfect Geralt. So episode one was pretty much the best episode of the season. Slowly, the episodes started to become more and more boring. It got bogged down very much with a lot of politics, and I'm going to be honest with you. I find the politics interesting, but there is too much exposition. That's one of the big
Yeah.
issues I have with the series. There's a lot of exposition. Like it's very exposition heavy, and again, there's a lot to be explained. It's true, but seriously, you can do this in a very visual way as well, like just having a map, someone move things on a map can showcase the fact that a number of battles took place very easily. Like you don't need to have characters talking for 5 minutes about a particular battle and them discussing what that means for the world. Like just having one general moving, you know, the wooden soldier from one side to another and kicking other, that explains already enough. So I think the issue here is the writing. The big issue with Witcher is the writing. Now I'm going to focus especially on part two, because part one was episodes 1 to 5, which were fine. It ended with the big event of the destruction of Aretusa, which is basically where young sorceresses would go to learn magic. And it continues with the big battle in Aretusa in season 3, part 2. Again, same thing here. Episode 6, which is the first episode of season 3, part 2, was pretty much the best episode of the season. Some interesting events happen. Lots of characters die, like a bunch of characters die, which was surprising because a lot of big characters die as well in it. And then episode 7 happens. Now, the unfortunate thing about episode 7 is it's probably the most loyal episode from the book, from like all the episodes. The problem is the chapters it adapts are the most boring chapters, and I've read lots of people mentioning that they just skipped those chapters because it's literally 1 hour of Ciri traveling around in the desert. And this is obviously like a test, an ultimate test, right, for Ciri. Is can she survive mentally, physically, and so on? And you can do this in an interesting fashion. Unfortunately, they do not do this in an interesting fashion. There's a big beast fight, horrible CGI. Like some of the CGI in the series, it just does not work. And and it just for me it just does not work. So episode 7 was super boring. I was looking at my mobile every 5 minutes, and I was dying for it to end. Episode 8 is fine. I mean, Geralt recovers from his injuries. Spoiler: he's. I mean, if you've, it's referenced in the games as well. The fact that Geralt was defeated by Vilgefortz in a battle. I mean, if you play the games or read the books, you'll know about that. So Geralt recovers from his injuries. He gets his send off. Henry Cavill gets his send off, obviously, with this big battle against a number of Nilfgaardian soldiers. Again, the action in that sequence was bloody fantastic. Henry Cavill doing all the stunts in the series, and it shows. He's dedicated to the role, so that's great. But unfortunately, that's the only thing Henry Cavill is used in this season for the action, which is a big pity, because I think Henry Cavill can do the dramatic roles very well as well. So yeah, overall, not the greatest of seasons for Witcher season 3. Looking at the audience score, I think that's very harsh as well. I think
not good.
I think most of that is probably people upset that Henry Cavill is leaving. Yeah, but I agree as well that the writing is lazy, very lazy writing. Many of the arcs are maybe not terrible, but not great. The pacing is on that I'll agree. The pacing is terrible at times. But this I agree a lot, because the worst moments in the series were the moments that were taken fully from the book, which was episode 7, which was too slow. So overall, I mean, I didn't hate season 3. I didn't love it. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably be around between a 2.5 and a 3, probably a 3, because episode 1 was really good. Episode 1 was really good, and the battle sequences were excellent, beautifully shot, and beautiful stunt work. But everything else was just meh, like not interesting. So yeah, those are my thoughts on The Witcher season 3. Joe, you are going to give us your review for Talk to Me.
Yeah, so Talk to Me is the debut from Danny and Michael Philippou. It's a Australian production, which is always like, I mean, the obvious comparison I am going to make off the bat is to that of The Babadook, which was by Jennifer Kent, also an Australian director, also an Australian produced film. But it's not like, similarity doesn't stop there with like them just being Australians. But anyway, the film is about when a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. This film does have, I think, one of the best trailers in recent memory. Andrea, I'm sure you've seen the trailer.
Yes.
Well, like, it just gets you straight in. Like, it gets you like basically into like the kind of like seance stuff they have, where you put the hand on the table, you light a candle, you grab it, you say, "Talk to me." Wild shit happens, and there's a lot of that obviously in this film. As you can see, it's only an hour and a half long, so it's extremely tight. And I was very, very excited to see this because A24 picked it up. It had done really well at Sundance Film Festival. As I said, packed house in the cinema last night, which I thought was going to be a bad thing, because sometimes for horror, people can be a bit loud and a bit stupid, but they were all extremely engaged. And I can actually happily say, this isn't like I'm a big, strong man kind of thing. Like, horror is one of the things like I watch the most. It's probably my, like, apart from science fiction, one of my favorite genres there is of like any kind of art medium. And I struggle to like actually like get scared, for lack of a better term, in a horror film. I like the thrilling aspect of it. This is actually one where like certain scenes where it wasn't necessarily like I was scared. There are a couple like jump scares here and there which are really effective, and none of them are cheap. But there were moments in this film where I was like, holy fucking shit, they did that. Like, they really, really like pushed like the boundary of like, I guess like you would, and that's like the beautiful thing about this being made in a country which like isn't America and doesn't have Hollywood. Because some of the things I think they do in this film, if you ran them by like a typical American producer, they'd be like, absolutely not. I'll be letting you put that in this film. Because they do some wild shit in it. But the best thing about it is it really toes this line between being that kind of like, and I hate to fucking say it, that A24 vibes, elevated horror. It's not a total A24 vibes, elevated horror, because it does have themes, very deep themes that we have seen explored before, but in a very different way. And it's good because it's not just like one sole theme which is explored. I'm also being extremely vague here because I mentioned the trailer. The best thing about that trailer, and I don't think this is a spoiler at all, is that everything they've shown you in that one trailer happens in the first 15 minutes of the film. Everything else is a surprise. Everything else. And that's the best thing about that trailer. So hence this is this is why I'm being vague, because there's a lot to give away in this film. But as I said, it toes a really good line of being that elevated horror with deep themes and taking itself really seriously, whilst also being not funny, but like its premise is extremely goofy, and it knows it has a goofy premise. But the world it creates, you totally buy into the fact that like an embalmed hand lets you talk to the dead. That's a really goofy premise. Perfect for a horror film. And that's where I bring in my other comparison for this film. So you've got the elevated horror side of films like Hereditary, like The Babadook, where they use the horrors in this film to depict certain themes and moods and stuff like that. But the other biggest comparison I can compare this film to is one of my favorite film series of all time, which is The Evil Dead. There is so much, especially of the very first 1987 original of Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead in this film. And like the key thing is that like you could say the embalmed hand in this film is like the Necronomicon is in the Evil Dead movies, where it's this like ancient, mysterious thing that you don't know where it's from, and it has this certain power to do something. And I thought that was really cool. And like, I really wouldn't be upset if now with this film, they're like, I mean, it would be a stupid thing to call it Talk to Me Too, because that's just a bad name. But if they could come up with like a different original thing and do a different spin on it, because to kind of like jump the gun a bit, this has one of the best endings I've seen like all year. Its final 2 minutes, and particularly its final shot, I was like, just like you nailed it kind of thing. Like that's exactly what I wanted. And it leaves it like totally open to do more shit with it as well, whilst also completely tying up the stories of the characters that are in this film. Like I thought it was a hell of a fucking debut. And like to speak about the two directors, like some of the camera work and the direction in this film is like, these guys must have been doing this for years before they went and did this, because everything just feels so intentional and there's nothing wasted, and it's never slow and it's never boring, and there's a purpose for absolutely everything. And there are like callbacks to things that happen at the beginning of the film, and they bleed into the themes and stuff. It is such a detailed, tight, and impressive like first piece of work from these guys. I can't wait to see what they take on next. I hope again it is in the horror genre, and again I wouldn't be upset if they took this concept and they took like the embalmed hand and they put it somewhere else, because that's basically what The Evil Dead does. And I like that. But then it's got that seriousness of like, I keep mentioning films like The Babadook or Hereditary have, where they have these serious themes and they take it very seriously, and it's very dark and it's very bloody at times, and it's very shocking at the same time as well. I had like a fantastic time. As I said, there were two girls sitting next to me who were like watching it like from basically just like under like their t-shirts like this, just like peering up the whole time, which is quite funny for me. They even asked me after, they're like, how the hell did like you sit through that film by yourself? Because like I went by myself, my girlfriend's in Malta at the moment, I'm alone here. They're like, how the fuck did you sit through that by yourself and you were like paying attention the whole time? And I was like, maybe I'm a psychopath, It could very well be the case, but no.
Fair enough.
It's, again, such a shame that this film isn't coming out in Malta, because then to speak to it as well. this film is set like it's set like this year in 2023. It is in a total modern world where like you see on the trailer like the whole thing of the embalmed hand, like videos on people's phones and stuff. Social media and phones play a huge role in this film, and that's why this is such like a film made for like the Gen Z generation. It's like an Evil Dead for Gen Z in like to put it in like one like poppy term as I can. Like I could almost see if this film got like any bigger, I could totally see like a talk to me challenge on like TikTok and stuff like blowing up if this film got that kind of popularity, because it's got all the ingredients there to do that. It's just like people need to see it to kind of like get the bug for it, and it might. Maybe I'm some kind of prophet and I've called that. I could totally see it happening, but again, I just can't understand why like when someone like Malta they won't release this film. It will definitely make money. It's a horror film. It will definitely make money.
Haunted Mansion next week.
Oh, great. So 3 people.
And Gran Turismo the week after.
I haven't decided whether I'm going to watch Gran Turismo yet.
I think I'll watch it. I mean, I have to watch it, right?
Yeah, probably. I might watch it just because we do this podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the only reason why I would watch something like Gran Turismo. To be fair, I really used to like the Gran Turismo games when I was young.
I did, yeah. And to be fair, that's kind of based on a true story anyway. But to kind of wrap up my review of Talk to Me, it's fucking brilliant. I can't believe how spoiled I've been with over the past week. I went to go... to be fair, I'll even include Mission Impossible in there in the last 2 weeks, because Mission Impossible is a good film. I have issues with it, but it is a good film. I had a very good time. But to go and watch Mission Impossible, to then go to Barbie, to then go to Oppenheimer, to then go to Talk to Me, I'm like, shit, like something's got to give. Like that's why I have a feeling I'll go watch Gran Turismo and I'll be like, this is a giant flaming piece of shit. Like, because this is like
you have to watch a horrible movie every now and then, right, at the cinema.
Yeah, like it was like when I watched Barbie, I was like, holy shit, my top 3 of the year has been blown wide open because of this. And then I went and watched Oppenheimer. I'm like, my top 3 of the year has doubly been blown wide open. And then I watched the Talk to Me and I'm like, I guess my top 3 of the year is going to be one of these 3 films.
Like we discussed, how long ago was it, Joe?
2 weeks ago.
We discussed 3 weeks ago our top 5 movies of the year. Like so far, so far was very important.
Mine have now changed completely in the last 2 weeks.
Completely.
Yeah. And like by a long shot, they've changed completely.
Yeah. And to spoil, like my list also includes Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So that's completely changed. I mean, obviously, for those of you who listen to our review about Barbie and Oppenheimer, I think you can tell also that those 2 movies also made it into the list.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, go watch Talk
What rating would you give it, Joe?
There's only like one aspect of the film I have a very minor issue with. Otherwise, to me, it's like this is the perfect debut, the perfect horror film, doesn't put a foot wrong. It's the right amount of goofy and terrifying and gory and holding back at the same time. I'm not going to reveal what the one thing I had an issue with was. It was kind of a repeated through line throughout the film. It's the kind of thing where like, it's really good that this film was really tight at 1 hour and 35 minutes. But if you gave me an extra 15 to kind of explore that one other part of the film, it maybe would have made it a bit better, but then maybe a bit less tight. But I won't say what that film was because the trailer doesn't go into any of it. And as I said, the trailer is fantastic because it only includes scenes from the first 15 minutes of the film.
All right, so that is Joe's review for Talk. What was the rating, Joe?
Solid 4.5 out of 5.
Wow, all right. Stuff 1.5 out of 5. Impressive. All right, and to conclude we're going to conclude on this. Damn. We're going to conclude with a sour note, unfortunately, with Secret Invasion. So I'm going to give you my review for Secret Invasion, the latest MCU series. And to start off with the positives, I was actually quite happy with the opening of this series. I was having a really good time watching like episode 1 to actually, I think, up to episode 5. I think I wasn't hating it. I wasn't loving it because to starting get a bit too slow and bogged down with exposition. Again, talking about exposition, this is another exposition heavy series. Um, but the opening episodes, episode 1, episode 2. So in episode 1, we like see the whole premise of the series, which was that you've got Nick Fury who returns back to Earth from space, and he's working with Skrulls, with some Skrulls, like Talos, for example. And basically what they're trying to uncover is this conspiracy by a number of renegade Skrulls led by Gravik, who are attempting to take control of the Earth, basically. Now, I haven't read the comics, the Secret Invasion comics. I know there's a lot of Secret Invasion comics. I know that they traverse pretty much all the major characters, all the major Marvel characters. And the teams here are interesting because there are a lot of teams of obviously the Skrulls are the perfect way to represent like immigrants, right? You've got these Skrulls who have left their world because of the war with the Kree. And now the Skrulls are living amongst humans, basically, because of the fact that they can shapeshift. They shapeshift to humans, to human bodies. Obviously, you've got this whole team of: is this a real person? Is this a Skrull? And so on. So that team, I believe, in the opening episodes is explored really well. You've got a great cast. I mean, even looking at this cast, you've got Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Olivia Colman, Emilia Clarke, Kingsley Ben-Adir. Great cast. And overall, I think the cast are used quite well. My favorite character in the series, by far, was Olivia Colman's character, Sonia Foldsworth. What was her name? Sonia Foldsworth, I believe. Yeah, Sonia Foldsworth. She was great. She's an MI6 agent in this. She's having the time of her life in this role. She's you see many of the characters. So this is the approach they took with the series, is trying to make it grounded and like very serious in its tone. And I think Olivia Colman didn't get the memo. So she's just having a blast and she's having the most fun ever. And she's actually very, very intimidating as well at the same time. She has a particular scene in like episode 2 or 3, I think it's 2, where she tortures a Skrull. And they show the torture. They show a lot from that torturing, like her snipping off a finger. So I respect the fact that they went there, right? And that this is quite there are some heavy themes here as well, and some heavy images, and like I said, Olivia Colman is great. Please, I hope we see more of her in the MCU. She's a great, very fun character. At the same time, however, as the episodes move on, like the same thing with The Witcher. It's like, I'm going to repeat myself. The series gets so bogged down with exposition. Everyone is explaining everything. And it just loses a lot of pace. The pacing, again, it's like I'm repeating the same review for The Witcher. The pacing is completely off. It gets bogged down in a lot of exposition, which is a pity. Because I think amazing stuff could have been done with the whole Skrull invasion of Earth. Because if you could have like the event, you've got the Avengers, and you don't know if that Avenger is a Skrull or not, and you've got the whole team of how are you going to defeat them? Which leads me to the end of my review, to talk about what was probably the worst episode of any Disney Plus series I've ever watched.
Okay.
Which is the climactic episode 6. So to basically describe spoilers for Secret Invasion, in case you want to watch it, what happens in episode 6 of Secret Invasion is that you have basically we see Fury confronting Gravik in like the Skrull headquarters, and there's the whole confrontation between them. Fury tries to convince Gravik that, listen, leave Earth. The whole idea, Gravik basically wants to use the harvest. Now, what is the harvest? The harvest is blood taken from different Avengers and from Thanos. during the final battle in Endgame, right? So Nick Fury had sent some of his agents to collect blood from the different Avengers, and so he's got this blood sample called the Harvest, which is a mixture of all the powerful Avengers and so on. You've got Captain Marvel, Thanos, and many other different Avengers and other big characters from the MCU. Gravik takes the Harvest. He uses it. He has this whole machine, and so Gravik takes all the powers of the Avengers, right? Surprise, surprise, it's not really Nick Fury. It's Gaia.
Okay.
Who is there, who shapeshifted into Fury. So you can already imagine, Joe, how this is all going to end. It all ends up in this big CGI clusterfuck of a battle.
Fest. Bring it on.
Between two super Skrulls, basically, who can use pretty much all the powers of the Avengers. It ends with Gaia defeating Gravik, using a ton of different powers. There's this really awkward sequence where Gaia takes, oh God, whose hand does she take? I don't know if you saw the image, Joe. I need to look this up. Drax's hand, and there's this image of Emilia Clarke with Drax's hand, and it looks super awkward. And to make matters worse, the CGI is really bad. So it's not helped by the horrible CGI. Yeah. And they spent like 225 million on this series, mind you. So that's more than double Oppenheimer. And this is 6 episodes, and each episode is 35 minutes long. So don't tell me that this is like a long series, so that's why they spent all that money. 225 million. It's just a CGI clusterfuck. So that is horrible in itself, right?
Yeah.
But what does this mean for the MCU at large? The Avengers are useless now.
Yeah.
Because now you've got Gaia, who has all the powers of all the Avengers, plus Thanos. So now Gaia has Captain Marvel's powers, Thanos' powers, Drax, Groot, mention them, they're all there. She has all those powers. All Captain America, Thor, Spider-Man, all of them.
Yeah. What's the point now?
So now what's the point of all the Avengers? Just call Gaia.
Yeah.
And Gaia will solve it.
Well, that was the
every time there's going
Marvel
to be
problem as well, because of how overpowered she was.
But Captain Marvel, you can always have the excuse of her traveling around the universe, so she's not there. But Gaia is there on Earth.
Yeah.
So how's the MCU? And this is, by the way, this is Kevin Feige, because the director said that Kevin Feige told them to do this.
Weird.
Which is very weird. I don't know, Joe. I don't know. It started out really well.
Yeah.
I thought it started out very well. There was a lot of tension. The whole, is this a real person? Is this a Skrull? That was working great.
Yeah.
There was actually some really good action as well at the start of the series. But
I mean, Marvel
just
they had to drop the ball at some point, I guess.
Yeah, it was too good. And it's a pity as well, because Samuel L. Jackson has some really great moments in this as well. I saw some people complaining that Samuel L. Jackson's character, Nick Fury, is just moping around all the time. He's not. He's been through a lot. He's been through the blip. He's experienced some horrific stuff. So I understand why he's in such a difficult part of his life.
Yeah, I still say they should have just ended it temporarily after Endgame. Endgame should have been, these characters are done, and these actors, that was the story. We took 10 years to do it. Thank you for coming. It was pretty good overall. And then they should have waited 2 to 3 years and been like, okay, complete reset, different universe, different characters. We're not doing the fucking Avengers again. You know?
Yep.
But, I mean, what do I know?
The one good thing I hope they get out of this is, like I said, Olivia Colman. I hope that they use her more, because she is great. She's Joe, trust me.
She's a great actress. Of course she's great.
She is the best psychopath you could think of. And I haven't seen her doing this kind of role. Like I've seen her in a lot of stuff. I love Olivia Colman. I try to watch anything she's in because she's such a great actress. But she is such a good psychopath in this. Like she is crazy, and she's the only one having fun in this whole series. Everyone's all dour and serious and talking about serious stuff and explaining everything to the audience. And she's just there snipping off people's fingers, killing people left, right, and center. Like she's so good. Her character is so fun. I hope we see her again.
Yeah, we'll see.
And then there's
see.
yeah, and then there's the Emilia Clarke of this all with Gaia.
Yeah,
Like the series ends clearly with showing us that, listen, obviously we're going to see Gaia because now Gaia is the most powerful person on Earth now. More powerful than Thor, more powerful than Captain Marvel.
yeah.
And like, what do you do with a character like that? Like, Gaia is going to defeat anyone who gets anywhere near Earth. Like, she has Thanos' power, and Thanos without the Infinity Stones was already super powerful.
Yeah.
So like Thor, she has Thor's power, so she has the power of a god. Like who's going to come to Earth now and defeat Gaia?
It's just not interesting.
I don't know where they go with this. I really don't know.
I don't think they know where they're going with it. So
I don't think they know. I don't know. But yeah, that's my review for Secret Invasion. As a rating, I wish I could review them separately, but as a rating overall, I think I'm gonna have to be a little harsh with this. I think I'm gonna have to go with a 2.5 for just how good Olivia Colman is, how good Samuel L. Jackson is. Even Ben Mendelsohn is very good in this as well.
Yeah.
And overall, it was fine up till pretty much up till the final episode. A lot of exposition, true, but it was okay. It was okay. But the final episode, Madonna, too much.
Yeah, this ruins it.
But yeah, 2.5 out of 5. I think I was quite kind, to be honest with it. It probably deserved worse. So, guys, I think that is pretty much it with our episode. There goes the church's bells next to my house. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's the end of our episode. Have you watched Secret Invasion? Have you watched Talk to Us? Have you watched The Witcher Season 3? Let us know in the comment section below. Are you interested in watching them? And if you have watched them, tell us what you thought about them. That's it for the week. Guys, we'll be back here next week. I'm going to be abroad, actually, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Next week from the 5th till the 5th of August till, I believe, the 10th. So I think next week I won't be able to do the episode because either we skip the week or else see, I don't know, you and Franco, what you can manage. Up to you guys.
Yeah.
But I won't be here next week because I'm going to be abroad in Sicily, living my living my White Lotus dream, just sipping on wine and well, I hope it won't be a White Lotus dream. I'm on the final episode of White Lotus, by the way, season 2, Joe.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so good. It's brilliant. And I was so excited to watch the final episode. To be honest, I'm dying to watch it.
Very, very
I have to watch it with my girlfriend. Oh, I can imagine. And two have to die. I already know who one of them is, I think. I'm not convinced on the second one.
You'll see.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, as always, comment, follow our socials, and all that jazz. Thank you, Joe, as always, for joining. It's been good to have you back. I missed you.
I missed the podcast, to be honest. I was like, I have no one to talk about this stuff with.
It's such a great tech, Ustra. Getting so much stuff off your chest about movies that you want to mention and series. Like, it was a good cleanser for me from Secret Invasion and The Witcher Season 3 Part 2. It was a good way to get all my feelings, because none of my friends watch Secret Invasion and The Witcher, so I'm like, I have no one to talk to about those series. It's a good way to get my frustrations about those series in this podcast. Ciao, ciao, guys. Have a nice week, and we might see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll let you know. Ciao, ciao. Peace.